How did you find it? How did you get here?
Again, my dad, we were living in Caracas, Venezuela. And my dad had, my two older brothers had been going to exchange student programs and had been going to the United States. And they were excellent students, and I was kind of the black sheep of the family then. And I needed an alternative because I was told by the Catholic school I was in that I was not going to be let graduate there. So my dad decided to give me an ultimatum, either military school in Venezuela or military school in the United States. And I said, I'll take military school in the United States. Yeah. So he saw the ad on National Geographic in the back, National Geographic, and he wrote to them and they said, oh, nice for sure. He presented to me, looked very nice, it looks like adventures, looks like a boys camp. Yeah. And that's why they took us here, took us to land in Washington, D.C., and then we drove down here. And the picture I sent you, that I give you, was when they dropped me off with all the books and all the things you said you had to get. And that's where I learned the first worth of English, so get down and give me 20.
Now, how did you figure out what those words meant if you were coming in cold?
Because they would use, hand gestures like, get down and you give me 10. And I see other kids doing it, or I go, oh, I guess he's talking about what those kids are doing over there. And so, yeah. I mean, there was enough Latinos in the school then that a lot of them, especially the seniors, would play tough with you because they're seniors, they're officers, and they have to. So, but they're still, had a liking to you, and they will help you out with some of the words. And I just had to learn fast.
How long did it take before you felt comfortable generally?
It was more closer towards the end than anything. I mean, I decided to study hard, get straight A's, because I was like, I need to impress my parents. So I was supposed to be a senior by then in Caracas, but I got pushed back here a year because I could not be an officer senior if you're new.
Oh, sure.
So they pushed me back to junior year. Yeah. But because I was junior, about to become senior, they would facilitate me getting my rank up. Mm-hmm. So I became a sergeant fairly fast. Mm-hmm. Again, it taught me to pay attention to class, and amazingly, like I got, I forgot what the name of the teacher was, chemistry professor.
Savage?
I have to see a picture to recognize the name, but it was, him. That's a much younger picture, yeah.
Much younger picture,
yeah. That looks like him.
Yeah, so that's Colonel Charles Savage.
Okay, yeah.
And some people called him Chuck, some people called him Doc.
Yeah, Chuck Savage, yeah, that makes sense. And again, the chemistry, which is a topic that I hadn't even had in South America, but I got straight A's. And everything clicked. Like I lived with a dictionary next to you, so you could translate constantly. I got a funny story for you because I had a visa, and it was kind of hard to leave the country except for Christmas, and then come back and you had to renew your visa and that kind of thing. So my parents said, you need to try to stay in the United States, and my brother. We had a connection with a family upstate that we did exchange student. It was a farming by Ithaca, New York. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, you come to Ithaca. And I went with my brother to Ithaca for the Christmas. And we were helping them out with milking. They were like, sure, they got free help milking cows. And we went there. And on the way back, my brother was going to the University of Tennessee at Martin. And his school started a few days earlier than us. They said, well, I'll drop you off. There'll be somebody there. You just be there a few days early. I said, sure.
We drop you off
here on his way to Tennessee from New York. And we stayed there with some friends in D.C. and there was a big snowstorm that night. And then we drove this beautiful drive through Blue Ridge Mountains, beautiful snowstorm everywhere. And we pull up here, and there's just snow everywhere. It's thick, it's like 2-3 feet of snow. And I remember he pulled up in front of the school. I grabbed my luggage, and he's like, okay, I'm off to Tennessee. See ya. Okay, bye. And I turn around, and as soon as his car just sped up and went away, I looked around like, I don't think anybody's here. And this is a few days before everybody was supposed to officially arrive, at least 2 days before. And for 2 days, I had to figure out how to keep myself from freezing because there was no heat anywhere.
Were the buildings open?
No, the courtyard was kind of open. I can have access to them because I have my leak key to my
Okay.
dorm, my
Right.
room.
Right.
But there was no heat. The radiators, nobody was running the radiator. So I will confess now, because many years have passed, that I actually had to break into the barbershop to steal a little electric heater to keep myself from freezing. And I remember, I had the trench coat and several jackets over, and I went to the fort when the other gas station was not there. It was just like a post office and sort of convenience store.
The fort.
Where the double-sided sign, "Welcome to Fort Defiance," this double-sided sign is right there. And I got like Wrigley spearmint gum and some other things. I remember going back to my room and taking a bite of the Wrigley spearmint gum, and the thing just bust, like it was so frozen and just went
It just
shattered in my mouth. But I remember laying in bed and just steam coming out of the den. When people started arriving, I'm like, shit, I better hide the electric heater that I took out of the barbershop and threw it back, because I know they were probably fine, and they were like gonna look, well, who broke into the barbershop, because that's usually the modus operandi. Something happened, they would lock everybody up and go and inspect every room, because they usually happen. That happened one time where we have some kids broke into where there was a museum that had some swords, some Civil War swords.
That was in Dean's Castle, the classroom
Right.
building.
Somebody did a break-in, and the FBI was here, and they put us all up in front, and brought dogs, and they tried to find who stole the swords. There's those things that happen every once in a while here that was interesting, like that, where all of a sudden there was like some kind of criminal activity that somebody did something terrible. Or we had a Latino too, I think it was Venezuelan too, where the dean of the school was having dinner in Stanton, and there was a girls' school in Stanton.
Stewart Hall Academy.
Yeah. And also he's coming off of dinner, and he sees the school bus parked in front of the girls' school. Well, one of the guys here had hotwired and taken it for a ride out to visit some girls. What's it called? Stewart Academy?
Stewart Hall School.
Stewart Hall School. Yeah. So yeah, it was all kinds of interesting things that happened in this school.
It's worth noting that somebody hotwired a bus. This is not an electric bus. So it's a bus that would have made a fair bit of noise being driven from the back of the campus all the way out. And it kind of makes you wonder why or how nobody noticed.
Well, the dean was out of dinner in Stanton, so that helped. And again, you can always, ask some of the officers to look the other way, especially the ones on guard, and play dumb. I remember, I was mentioning to her that one of my memories too is of, again, because this is a whole new world to me, and I remember going straight to the back, and some farmers field, some apple orchards, and there was a little creek in the backside that we trekked on Saturdays, because it's the only day that we're allowed to trek on our own.
Do you know about how far you had to go?
Not too far. There's a creek very close by. It was not. It's just through some farmers field, which the first time, again, we never. We grew up from Caracas, Venezuela, so it was not used to cows and cow fields, and also there was some apple orchards, and also we just have a cow see us, and they start running towards us like crazy, and we're like, what the hell? We run towards these apples, and we climb the apple tree, and that's what the cows wanted, because they're like, yeah, exactly, go up and shake some apples for us to eat. And I'm like, what do they want from us? Oh, they just want apples. But again, I remember, especially the football field here, where one time, again, I was a squad leader, and I'm sitting in information, and we're doing we're counting. Somebody was missing information, so they're finding out who's missing, and we're just killing time. And this little sergeant he was just a little bitty guy who thought he was big stuff, and we were just kind of talking, killing time because there's nothing to do. And then he turned around and go, "Shut up, you spick." And I'm like, I'm bored. I look at my guys like, I just walk out gently and just punch him in the face. And my captain, he liked me. He's like, "Okay, Luis, you got to march. You got with your rifle over your head. Do a loop 4 times around the football field." And I gladly did with my rifle on my head because the guy called me a spick, and I'm like, I'm not gonna take it.
So you were a squad leader.
Yeah.
And what was his rank? Do you know?
He was a sergeant for the Charlie company.
So he outranked you? Did he?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Then he did. Yeah.
And do you know how? Do you recall how it started? Like what?
I mean, we just, again, it was somebody missing information from some of the company, and they were trying to find who's unaccounted for. And we're just waiting, and we just kind of a little chit chat, and he just kind of wanted to shut us up and shut up, you speak.
Wow.
I'm like, okay. By then, I knew enough English to know that was a bad thing to be called.
So how? So it was your captain.
My captain was on top of him, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And then when I punched, he like, well, he would have been nice to me, but you got to do some penance for this.
But he kind of, he must have understood the situation to a degree.
Yeah, again, he just made me, well, you got to do 4 laps around with a rifle over your head.
Because it could have been much worse.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To attack somebody who outranks you.
Yeah. But this guy, everybody hated him. He was just a guy that nobody really liked. So I don't know if they kind of felt some sympathy for me. So
that was a really interesting example of how the Corps ran itself, and that adults never got involved in this. At least not in this particular situation. It was all handled within the Corps.
Right. And I remember another incident that happened too, because we had the basement hall where they store a lot of the old Vietnam fatigues.
That was the armory.
The armory.
Yeah. So they had all the old uniforms down there, and they kept the firing pins for the rifles down there, and the shells for the cannon, and it was also the laundry room. There was a lot going on.
Yeah. We rarely went down there.
Right.
There was some kind of thing that was happening, or either some kind of health checkup or something, but we were mixing with the little kids too. And I remember that one of our guys, a friend of ours, opened one of those doors and he found a nice fatigue jackets, and he grabbed one and gave one to me. And like, oh, what the hell? These are here. It looks like nobody's accounting for this. And then one of the young kids, hey, we want one. Like, I shut up, little kid, and we like kind of ignore him. But then he told onto us to the dean, and we got busted for that, for taking the jacket out of the armory. And it was like, man, look at this cool, like stuff you find in Army Navy's surplus store.
And how many laps around the?
No, they demoted me back to corporal, and then I ranked back up because again, by the end of the year I was back to being a sergeant. But,
So you made sergeant twice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was relatively common for people to make rank multiple times. It's kind of like a sort of a rinse and repeat kind of cycle.
Again, I was not educated enough. I mean, I learned afterwards the method to what's happening here, because I was just, as soon as I got here, I'm like, okay, I need to find a way to get out of here. But I can see the benefit of it. Again, I was extremely grateful that I came here. It made me who I am. I mean, I was paying myself, I'm the black sheep of the family. I don't think I'm gonna amount to anything now. And I became even though I'm the third of my boy in my family, I became the leader of my family, and the shadow of my dad, and became his sort of guardian of the business he created. But my two brothers could not withstand my dad, but I was able to withstand my dad more because I probably had a little bit of military background.
So you could go toe to toe with your father.
But I learned how to respect his authority and not
Right.
meet it head to head, so to speak, and learn what is it that he wants from me. And then I learned that he's just trying to toughen me up, prepare me for a world that's tougher, and his treatment is going to be nicer than what the world has to offer to me anyways. And so I appreciated what he had to teach. He was not the best teacher, but he had a lot to teach. But when I came here, I was extremely grateful. I was like, a lot of people, were you scared when you came in? No, I signed up for this adventure. I actually was looking forward to this adventure. But to me, it was like United States, military school was like, this is going to be like a roller coaster ride, but it's going to be interesting to me. And I get to learn English, I get to learn the United States. I'm like, sign me up. But while I was here, grant you, when you have several days where you're hearing the trumpet at 5:30 in the morning and they're banging on your door like, get up, you maggot. And you're like, every day, and you walk to the calendar, you mark up, okay, one less day that you're here. And again, I was telling her, I had issues of mental issues where after leaving here, years afterwards, I would have a dream that like, oh no, we made a mistake, you need to come back. I'm like, whoa, I've done my sentence here. But it was, again, it formed me. So it, in a lot of sense, it straightened my ass up. So I went in, we saw a picture with a big curly hair to the other picture will be cut up and cleaned up, and I showed up at the airport in Venezuela in perfectly polished uniform, where even I was in, I saw a military general at the airport in Venezuela when I arrived at the airport, and he's looking at me like he's expecting me to salute him or something like that. I'm like, how's it going? He's like, what armed force are you? And then it was shocking even to my sister too, just after me, to see me that clean cut and coming in back to Caracas after that.
So did you graduate in 1980?
No, so my dad, but then had made the decision. My dad was very wise. He had the decision. We need to leave Venezuela, and this is before Venezuela. He knew what was coming to Venezuela. He foresaw that. He was good friends with Juan Pablo Perez Alfonso, who's the guy who organized OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum, and he was complaining, other countries are following what I recommended, but Venezuelans are not. So Dubai, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, they're all like, put money in a gold reserve, invest money in future economies like tourism, and invest in the country. But a lot of Venezuelans are going like, hey, take some money and shut up, and why don't we spread some money between us? So the corruption started really bad, and my dad and him was saying, you need to be careful, you probably need to leave this country.
And the friend of your father, his name was?
Juan Pablo Perez Alfonso. He's the guy who organized OPEC.
Juan Pablo
Perez Alfonso.
Got it. And he was one of the organizers of OPEC.
Yeah, he's the economist that came up, they organized OPEC. And my dad then decided, well, I need to move the rest of the kids in the family out of Venezuela, even though we were doing quite well there. And he decided to pick Gainesville, Florida, because it was close enough for him to, if you wanted to go back to South America and do business, he can go back. But we were in a university town, and we were away from South Florida, so we'd be forced to learn English. So he planned that, and he picked Gainesville, Florida. So when I was here, they asked for me to have like a long weekend, and I met them in Orlando, and we drove to Gainesville, Florida, and then said, this is a town we're thinking of moving, what do you think? And after being here for almost a year, old boys, not seeing any girl, we drove by, it's called University Avenue, with all the girls running with dolphin shorts, and I'm like, yes, I like this place. I like it. And that's where we moved to Gainesville, Florida. So I came from here, went back to Venezuela just for a couple of months, and then we packed our family and moved to Gainesville, Florida.
And you still live in Gainesville?
Yes, correct.
Oh. So what was the business that your father was in?
He was a developer. He was vice president of Yamaha of South America, like the musical instruments. Mm-hmm. And so he was president of several companies. He was always headhunted for different companies. What made him where he's at, he was the youngest manager for Shell Oil in the world. At age 25, he got sent to London. So he worked for Shell Oil, he worked for a big lithographic company, he worked for Yamaha Instruments, and then he cultivated a relationship with people who work for Shell Oil. They're also Spaniards. They were developers in Madrid, and they put money together to do a residential development in Gainesville, which they put me in charge of. And I'm finishing that development right now.
So just to retrace, so your father starts out working for Yamaha.
For Shell Oil.
For Shell Oil.
Yeah.
And then at 25, he's the youngest
manager for Shell Oil in the world. He got sent to London, to Chelsea, London, for schooling for Shell Oil. And then he got headhunted for different companies and moved out. Eventually became vice president for Yamaha South America. And,
in the musical instrument division.
Yeah, for the Shell instruments. Yeah.
And then when did he get into residential development?
He was doing a little bit of it in Venezuela, but then he got together with other people and they wanted to invest in the United States, and he collected money to invest in development and sell lots and sell.
So was he doing that as a parallel career?
Yeah, he was branching off and becoming independent.
Okay.
He wanted to be independent.
Even while he was at Yamaha?
Yeah, well, he was in Yamaha. He was good friends with the president, and he became actually one of the investors with us in Florida.
And the residential development, that was all happening in Florida?
Yeah, correct.
And then you took over.
Yeah, because I went to school at University of Florida. I got a degree in building construction, which is under the school, the College of Architecture, but it's an independent school. It's one of the oldest schools of construction in the United States.
Now,
University of Florida, School of Building Construction. That's where I got my degree.
And where? Because I don't know Florida very well. Where is the University of Florida?
It's north of Orlando, about 2 hours north of Orlando, in the center.
Okay.
That's what, like Florida Gators.
Oh, those Florida Gators.
Yeah,
okay, of
yeah.
Gatorade.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And so you've been in development ever since.
Yeah. And I'm a builder, so I'm a contractor and developer. And we all have a tree farm. We sell ornamental trees, and we also have a real estate company. So we have a management for a homeowners association management company, and we have several companies that we manage in Gainesville.
Wow.
But I always wanted to come here to find where my first taste of the United States was at, which is right here.
Are there any things? Is there anything that you didn't get to do at AMA that you wished you had had the time to do?
Well, I wish I would have gotten more into playing soccer here, which I did in my senior year of high school in Gainesville, and I would have helped them out in soccer. But I didn't see like the appreciation for Latin American players here back then.
Do you remember who the coach was?
No, I didn't. See, I didn't participate as much. That's why I wish I would have participated.
Yeah.
Been more participating on that, because I was a little timid in my first year here, and I didn't want to make any waves. But when I went to Gainesville, the first day in school, I went to a PE class, and I made fools a bunch of football jocks, and then the guy's like, "I want you to talk to the soccer coach." Next thing I know, I'm in the senior soccer team.
When was this?
It's in Gainesville when I went the following year.
Okay.
So I would have been, good asset to have here, but I wish I would have done a little more of that, of the sports here.
Now, did you? You came in cold. You knew nothing about what you were expecting. So I was about to ask, were there any surprises? But I guess it was all a surprise because.
Oh, everything was a surprise. I mean, from that picture where it was middle of October, and nobody had told, hey, the snowstorm's coming, because maybe they didn't even know. But I remember I got my room face that direction towards where the church is.
So you had a north wing.
Yeah. And I'd never seen snow in my life. And I'm like, my brain is short circuiting, like, what am I seeing? Why is everything white? And it took me like a minute for me to go, is that snow? Like, and then they had a school day off, like everybody played, and we went. Especially Latinos were like in the snow, like but I mean that was the field that I guess we marched to go to church at the top of the hill, but it's a cemetery up there too.
Yes.
Right? So I mean it was we got rare times to go. Like one time we got to go to the Six Flags. That was And then, but I remember marching. I think we marched in Stanton, maybe another city. They asked us to some homecoming parade. So I don't know which. There was a city that had a downtown jail, like a high rise. There was like several stories.
Maybe Richmond?
No, I don't.
Because I'm relatively new to Virginia.
Okay.
So.
Oh, okay. It was because the most thing memory for me was the marching, and then you could see this building with several stories. It was like a very oppressing kind of building. When you see hands sticking out of the barn, and then guys would yell, "Hey, pretty boy, I want you to march your way over here, and I'll take care of you," kind of thing. Like,
Would it be Waynesboro?
So I was wondering. I thought it was one of the towns nearby. It could have been
Waynesboro.
Stanton.
It might have been Stanton.
But I know we marched in some kind of homecoming in a couple of different cities. And they asked us.
Or Lexington, maybe.
Now, if you were marching, were you in the Roll of Rifles?
No. But I mean, no. I remember getting a red beret from one of them, I think. But I.
Hang on, because there's one thing I want to check.
We all kind of practiced and watched our moves and.
Okay, so see that shoulder patch there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a Roll of Rifles patch.
Oh.
So you were on the drill team.
Huh.
And that's a big deal, especially in your first year.
Because I remember I had a red beret.
That's why you had the beret. Because the Roll of Rifles were the only ones who wore a beret as part of their uniform.
Yeah.
And what's important to remember about the way the Roll of Rifles worked is that in order to get on the team, every other member of the team had to approve you getting on.
I don't recall that.
Well,
I don't recall that, but I have some good memories. I mean, as far as quality memories, and some memories are a little blurred to me.
Sure.
But some things really stuck in my head. But I don't know. I remember really practicing the moves and marching up and down, doing all those different moves and that kind of thing. And I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was in my company or it was a separate. Now that you mention it, it might have been a separate where they asked me to be maybe a backup with them or something. I don't know.
Well, remember that to the best of my knowledge, now granted,
I still have the jacket somewhere. In Gainesville.
and so you should check that jacket and see if the patch is there, because I can't imagine a scenario where they would have given you that patch unless you were on the team.
Yeah.
Because the Roll of Rifles was considered the most elite thing you could do here.
Yeah.
And so if you're wearing the uniform, if you're wearing the beret and you've got the patch, you were on the team.
Yeah. I need to double check that and check my memory bank.
And consider that you did this in your first year.
Yeah.
After coming here with no English and starting as a new cadet junior.
Yeah. That brought some privilege, I know, because they wanted to prep you out to be a senior.
Yeah.
So everything was a little faster. They said you were a freshman, so yeah.
And so that's why I'm really glad that you found that picture, because there's no name on that photo.
Yeah.
And so we would have found it and thought, who is this?
Yeah. Huh.
And now we know, and because we know, I get to tell you that you were on the drill team.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And that's why if all the marching that you remember doing in other cities, that is almost
That
certainly
makes more sense
Yes.
now.
Wow.
You're putting it all together.
Because that was the
That's so
drill
cool.
team was basically the representative of the school outside the school property. So whenever there was an inauguration, or even sometimes a halftime show, or some sort of
because it would have made sense that we're not bringing the whole school to march at a homecoming,
right,
and just only one platoon would do, kind of thing.
And
But
especially
the roller rifles made more sense to
Yes.
come to a homecoming.
Mhm.
God, I'm impressed in that memory.
I wonder if you all were in Lexington when you were marching at the jail.
Oh, so did you grow up in Virginia?
I did, in Roanoke.
Yeah, and so you remember in Lexington that there was a jail there that matches the description.
That's
pretty-
what I'm thinking. And my dad went to Virginia Military Institute. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that starts to make sense. You were being heckled by prisoners in Lexington.
Nice. Yeah.
Now, so how did the two of you meet?
Internet. Yeah.
Well, congratulations. Because the internet is one of the easiest and hardest ways to meet people.
Yeah, it's
like-
very selective.
The kinds of minefields that you both
yeah.
had to go through in order to find each other. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
How long have you been together?
Month and a half, 2 months.
2 months.
Wow.
Just 2 months.
Wow. And so what sent you on this road trip? So you were...
Well, we one of the things when we first connected online is like, oh, you're from Roanoke. I'm actually spent a year very close by, and then we started chatting about that and say, well, we need to organize one day because I want to go back. She's like, well, I'll be your tour guide and go back.
Wow.
So,
That's amazing. I love that story.
Yeah, so I was in high school right down the road.
Now, had you ever been to Fort Defiance before? No. So this is all...
But my mother went to Mary Baldwin, so I've been to Stanton.
So you knew Stanton.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when was your mother there? Like in the 70s?
not to be part of that.
But no, before that, I was born in 65, so 50s.
Ah, okay. I'd be curious if you asked her if she has any memories of AMA cadets. And on one hand, you think, well, why would a college woman have any memory of a high school student? But the thing is that Mary Baldwin students had this problem of, well, being an all-women's college. And there was, at that point, JMU might not have been co-ed yet. And so Mary Baldwin students often would be the dates to AMA cadets.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because, well, I mean, there was a shortage of college-age men.
VMI.
There was VMI, but VMI was in Lexington. So,
Right.
So I do know people. We had a teacher here who was a VMI cadet, whose future wife of 50-odd years was at Mary Baldwin. So that connection was strong, but there was the distance problem. And for these cadets who were pretty good in uniform, that worked to their benefit. So where did your mother grow up?
Roanoke.
Oh, in Roanoke.
Yeah.
So what is the rest of your plan on this road trip?
We just want to look around here. We're going to meet some friends later on.
Yeah, we're going to go to Pippin Hill in Charlottesville on our way back to Richmond.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And then back to
Richmond.
Richmond, and I got to go back to Florida on Tuesday. So, yeah.
So I'm so grateful for you coming today.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful story, and